What if I told you that a gorilla, who could communicate with humans, once said something so profound that it shook the very core of how we view ourselves? Koko, the talking gorilla, not only mastered sign language, but also delivered a message that could change the way we see nature, animals, and even our own role on Earth. Curious? You should be. Keep reading, because what Koko revealed might just make you rethink everything you thought you knew about animals and humanity. There once lived a gorilla who defied everything we thought we knew about the line between man and beast. Her name was Koko, and she didn't just grunt or growl, she spoke. Not with her voice, but with her hands, with her eyes, with her heart. She could sign over 1,000 words in human language. Think about that for a second. How many humans even master that kind of communication without slipping into distraction? In a world where rescue animals are often underestimated, Koko emerged not just as a marvel, but as a silent revolution, one that bridged two worlds with grace and empathy. Koko wasn't your ordinary animal. She played with kittens the way a child would care for a fragile friend. Her favorite? Tiny, stray animals she'd cradle gently in her massive hands, often in what felt like scenes straight out of emotional pet stories. She even named her kittens, joked with her caretakers, and once used sign language to describe a ring as a finger bracelet. You could say she was the queen of pet heroes, not because she fought battles, but because she redefined what it means to be sentient. She wasn't just surviving, she was teaching us to listen. Now, let that sink in. A gorilla made jokes. That's more than mimicry. It's cognition, it's emotional depth, it's creativity. Koko didn't just show signs of intelligence. She obliterated the old scales we used to measure it. Like many heroic pets who survive and rise against odds, Koko's existence made the scientific world pause and ask, what if animals are more like us than we ever dare believe? And when that door cracks open, oh, what wonders lie beyond. Her presence wasn't just a miracle. It was a mirror that made us stare deep into ourselves and question how we treat the voiceless. We cherish pet adoption and honor the courage of dog rescue tales, yet often forget the intelligence in the eyes of the wild. Koko reminded us that compassion doesn't require language. It only needs willingness. And she gave that freely every single day. In her silence, she roared truths we hadn't yet earned the wisdom to hear. But here's the thing. Legends don't begin fully formed. Even the greatest pet survival stories start with shadows. And behind Koko's brilliance was a childhood shaped by loss, rejection, and pain. What happened to her in those early days? You'll want to know, because it makes what came later all the more extraordinary. Every hero's journey begins with a wound. For Koko, that wound came early, on the very day she entered the world. Born on July 4th, 1971, in the San Francisco Zoo, her original name was Hanabi Ko, meaning fireworks child. A powerful name, yes, but life didn't begin with celebration. She was separated from her mother soon after birth due to illness, and what followed was a heartbreaking rejection. Can you imagine that? An infant gorilla, alone, vulnerable, and discarded, not so different from the countless stray animals we see struggling for warmth and affection in alleyways and streets. This wasn't just any rejection. It was the kind that etches itself deep into the soul. Like many animal rescue stories, Koko's life could have faded into the background, another forgotten tale. But that wasn't the path fate had in mind. Though she grew up lonely, eyes searching for something familiar, Koko clung to survival with a quiet resilience. Her early pain became the soil where something astonishing would one day bloom. Just like the most emotional pet stories, it was the ache that made room for the miracle. In those formative years, her caretakers noticed she wasn't like the others. There was something about her gaze, an intensity, a longing, maybe even a question. She wasn't merely observing. She was absorbing, processing, waiting. These are the silent moments where greatness brews. In rescue animals, we often overlook the stillness, the waiting, the eyes that seem to know too much. But it's in those moments that the strongest transformations begin. Imagine what it must have felt like, surrounded by sounds, lights, creatures, and yet feeling utterly alone. And yet, Just like heroic pets who rise from trauma, Koko carried something rare inside her, the spark of potential. Her story could have ended in silence, but instead, it would one day ignite a global movement. A whisper from the shadows would soon become a voice for the voiceless. And that spark? It found fuel when a young woman with a wild idea stepped into Koko's world. Someone who believed animals could speak, if only we dare to teach them how. That's where the true turning point begins, and where destiny brings two souls together in a way no one could have predicted. Some encounters are written in the stars. And when Francine Penny Patterson first laid eyes on Koko, she didn't just see a gorilla, she saw a question. A question that no one else dared to ask. What if animals could talk? In 1972, Penny, then a passionate psychology student at Stanford, began what many called a far-fetched experiment. She wanted to teach American Sign Language to a gorilla. Now, most of the academic world raised eyebrows. After all, how could an animal, even one rescued from hardship, comprehend human language? But Penny had something most didn't: vision and heart. Her connection with Koko wasn't forged in a lab. It was born through presence, patience, and belief. You see, behind every great animal rescue story, there's often a human who refuses to give up. Penny wasn't trying to prove a theory. She was trying to understand. And that simple shift from proving to understanding is what turned this from a study into a revolution. It's the same shift we see in those who open their homes to stray animals, who rescue not just bodies but spirits. Koko responded slowly at first. She was cautious. Wounded things often are. But Penny didn't push, she invited. Day after day, she signed. Words like food, play, love. And inch by inch, the wall began to crack. Koko started watching, then mimicking, then understanding. It's not unlike the journey of pet adoption, where a once fearful animal starts wagging its tail, starts trusting again. That breakthrough? It's pure magic. And Koko was about to deliver it in ways the world had never seen. The more time they spent together, the more Koko opened up. Her hands, once still, began to speak. And with every new sign, Penny's heart soared. This wasn't just an animal learning tricks. This was a soul reaching out across species lines. It mirrored the kind of transformation we often see in pet survival stories. Those moments when a battered dog finally lays its head in a lap, or a rescued cat purrs for the first time. It's the language of trust. And Koko had found someone worthy of hers. And yet, as extraordinary as this connection was, it was just the beginning. Teaching language is one thing. But could a gorilla feel like us? Could she describe not just things, but thoughts, feelings, dreams? That's where the next chapter takes us, into the heart of something far deeper than words. At first, it wasn't easy. Teaching sign language to a gorilla sounds poetic now. But in the beginning, it was nothing short of exhausting. Koko, strong-willed and deeply intuitive, flat out refused to have her hands manipulated. She didn't want to be shown. She wanted to observe. And Penny, wise beyond her years, adjusted her approach. She started demonstrating signs herself, again and again, day after day. It was like planting seeds in hard soil, not knowing if anything would ever grow. But then it did. The very first word Koko signed was drink. A simple, primal need, but more than that, it was her way of saying, I understand. And from that moment, something beautiful unfolded. Their bond deepened into something resembling the kind of loyalty we often see in heroic pets. Those who survive, trust again, and protect fiercely. Koko wasn't mimicking anymore. She was expressing. Slowly, the words came, each one a bridge between two worlds. It was the same wonder we feel when stray animals, once silent and wary, begin to speak with their eyes, tails, or paws. Their relationship grew into something sacred. Koko and Penny weren't just student and teacher. They were companions, soulmates in a way. They laughed together, teased each other, played. Koko once called Penny's stupid toilet, followed by a cheeky grin, her own way of telling a joke. It's these little glimpses, the humor, the sass, the warmth, that remind us how deeply emotional pet stories can be. Behind those big brown eyes was a personality full of spark, charm, and unmistakable love. As the vocabulary grew, so did the complexity of their communication. Koko began combining signs to express emotions and thoughts. Love, sad, hurt, even make me cry. This wasn't about pointing to bananas anymore. It was about connection, honesty, and the raw truth of feeling. Like in the most powerful animal rescue stories, the deeper Koko trusted, the more she revealed. And what she revealed wasn't just intelligence, it was vulnerability, a mirror to our own hearts. But language was only part of the story. The next revelation would come not from Koko's hands, but from her mind. Could she create? Could she imagine? Could she feel something like grief or hope? Get ready, because what came next shattered every assumption we had about what animals are capable of. Most people think animals live moment to moment, that they eat, sleep, and survive, nothing more. But Koko destroyed that belief with the elegance of a whisper. She didn't just sign what she saw, she invented language. Once, looking at a ring on Penny's finger, she called it a finger bracelet. Simple, clever, and poetic. That kind of creativity, it's not just rare in animals, it's rare in humans. You don't find that in textbooks, you feel it. Like the surprise in many pet survival stories, where an animal adapts, thinks, even outsmarts danger. Koko wasn't just surviving, she was living fully. She had a sense of humor, too. A real, goofy, childlike one. She'd purposely sign something silly just to see Penny laugh. Then she'd laugh along, cover her mouth the way a little kid might. And in those laughs, we saw her spirit. It reminded us of rescue animals who, after all their pain, still find a way to play. That lightness, after everything, is what makes these emotional pet stories so deeply moving. Koko's joy wasn't rehearsed. It was real, spontaneous, and deeply human. And the emotions didn't stop at joy. Koko expressed sadness, frustration, tenderness, even empathy. If Penny seemed upset, Koko would sign sad and offer comfort. She recognized emotions not just in herself, but in others. That's the theory of mind, something we once believed was strictly human. But Koko challenged that. Like heroic pets who alert their owners to danger, who mourn lost companions, or sit silently beside someone in pain, Koko's empathy proved we're not as different as we thought. One moment in particular stands out. Koko signed a series of thoughts. Love, animal, good, gentle. She wasn't describing something she saw. She was describing what she felt. These weren't commands. They were reflections. Stray animals, often dismissed as wild or broken, carry similar depths we fail to see. Give them a chance, and they show you miracles. Animal miracles that rewrite what we thought was true. Koko's signs were more than gestures. They were windows into a soul we almost didn't believe could exist. And just when the world thought they'd seen all, Koko took things further. Not only could she express thoughts, she could act independently. Use language when no one was watching. Communicate with animals. Teach others. Yes, teach. And this next part, it's where the student becomes the teacher. As time went on, Koko didn't just wait for Penny's prompts. She started initiating. Her ability to communicate grew beyond basic signs. Koko wasn't merely responding. She was actively choosing to use language. In her quiet moments, when humans weren't present, Koko would sign to dolls and other animals, bridging the gap between species. There's something incredibly humbling about that. It's the same feeling we get when we see rescue animals, once silent and afraid, begin to communicate their needs in their own ways, through a look, a gesture, or even a tail wag. Koko was doing that, but on a whole new level. Koko's intelligence was measurable, but the true test was in what she could create. When tested with IQ assessments, her score landed between 70 and 90, on par with a 4-year-old child. But Koko was no ordinary child. She wasn't a child of humanity, but a child of the wild. And yet, her language skills, her deep understanding of the world, far surpassed any test score. It was the same with heroic pets who rise above their circumstances. Sometimes, their worth can't be captured by simple metrics. It's what lies beyond the numbers that truly matters. Koko's ability to teach other gorillas was equally impressive. Like a mentor guiding a struggling student, Koko showed Michael and Dome, the other gorillas in her life, the signs she had learned. Imagine that for a moment, one animal teaching another. It's no different than when a pet hero teaches a stray dog how to trust again, or a rescued cat shows another that human lap can be safe. Animals have this remarkable capacity to pay forward what they've learned, passing on wisdom from one soul to another. Koko's legacy wasn't just in what she learned, but in what she shared. And then there was the sheer emotional intelligence Koko displayed through these interactions. She understood herself, and more profoundly, the animals around her. Her empathy wasn't limited to her human companions. It extended to the very creatures she lived with. Like animals who, through the simplest of gestures, communicate feelings we can only begin to comprehend, Koko's actions spoke volumes about the depth of her emotional and intellectual world. But despite all of this, something felt incomplete. Koko's language wasn't just a tool. It was a bridge leading us closer to understanding the intricate intelligence of animals. And yet, what Koko was about to reveal next would shatter every preconceived notion of what animals are truly capable of. It wasn't just about talking, it was about feeling deeply and profoundly. And that's where the next chapter takes us. In the world of animal rescue stories, there are moments that echo with unimaginable depth. The story of All Ball, Koko's beloved kitten, is one of those moments. Koko had always adored kittens, tiny, playful creatures that brought light into her life. But when All Ball, a tailless kitten she had adopted, entered her world, their bond transcended simple affection. It was love at first sight, a love that would soon be tested in the most painful of ways. Koko, once a lonely, wounded soul, had found a companion that understood her in ways humans could not. This was no ordinary bond. It was a connection between two beings who had both experienced loss, fear, and abandonment, and had come together to heal. All Ball was not just Koko's pet. He was her heart, her joy. They played, snuggled, and spent countless hours together. Their companionship was a reminder of how pets, whether they're rescue animals or not, offer more than just physical presence. They offer emotional rescue. The joy they bring is unconditional, as if they know how much we need them. But Koko's world would soon be shattered. The unthinkable happened. All Ball, her precious kitten, died in an accident. The world fell silent. The grief Koko experienced was deep and raw. She signed sad, repeatedly, looking to Penny for understanding. She signed Cat Sleep and refused to play for days. The sounds of her weeping were haunting, an animal's sorrow so profound that it defied belief. What Koko felt wasn't just sadness, it was loss. It was the kind of sorrow that humans often experience when they lose someone they love. It was the grief that so many heroic pets seem to express when they lose a companion, a reminder that they too are capable of deep emotional bonds. And Koko's grief? It was a reflection of the complex emotional world that animals navigate every day. What Koko's mourning revealed wasn't just about the depth of her love for All Ball. It was a window into the soul of a gorilla who understood the fragility of life. The way Koko mourned was not so different from the way a human would grieve for a lost loved one. In that moment, Koko was not a pet or a gorilla. She was a fellow traveler on this human journey of love and loss. And as Penny watched Koko grieve, she saw something that would change the way the world viewed animals forever. It was a moment of profound realization. Animals don't just exist around us. They feel with us. Koko's sorrow was also a mirror. It reminded us of the grief we carry for the animals we lose, the pets who've rescued us with their love and companionship. It's the same deep emotion we see in stories of animals who survive only to lose their beloved humans. It's that emotional connection that transcends species, binding us all in the shared experience of love, loss, and hope. Koko's story with All Ball didn't just teach us about the capacity of animals to love. It taught us about the strength of their hearts, hearts that could break, but also heal. Koko was never just a gorilla. She was a unique individual, full of quirks, personality, and a sense of humor that was truly human. Many animals, when placed in certain situations, reveal parts of themselves that go beyond survival instincts. They show us that they feel on a level we often underestimate. Koko was no different. After watching Jurassic Park, she was so terrified of toy dinosaurs that she refused to go near them. Imagine that, a grown gorilla, not just afraid but truly scared of a plastic toy. In that moment, Koko wasn't just reacting like an animal. She was showing fear, one of the most primal emotions, in a way that was both endearing and profound. But Koko wasn't all seriousness and fear. She had her moments of joy, too. Moments that echoed the playful, goofy side we often see in heroic pets who bring humor into our lives, no matter how hard our day has been. She loved movies like Tea with Mussolini, where she would laugh at scenes that were, in her own way, relatable. Her laughter was a reflection of something deeper, something uniquely Koko. Animals, like rescue dogs or cats, have the ability to mirror our own emotions, providing us with the comfort of knowing that we're not alone in how we feel. Koko did just that, using humor as her bridge to the human world. Her self-awareness was another remarkable trait. Koko passed the mirror test, a psychological measure of self-recognition, with flying colors. It wasn't just that she saw herself in the mirror, it was the depth of her reaction. When she saw herself, Koko didn't just recognize a reflection. She recognized herself. That level of self-awareness in animals is rare and powerful. In a way, it's like the feeling we get when we witness animals in emotional pet stories, where they seem to have a profound understanding of their surroundings and the people they love. Koko understood, on a deep level, who she was and what her presence meant. Koko's ability to feel emotions, express them through sign language, and even create new words made her a unique figure in the study of animal intelligence. But it wasn't just her intellectual achievements that stood out, it was the emotional depth she carried. In the way she communicated her feelings, Koko showed us that animals are not mere creatures of instinct. They are thinkers, feelers, and creators. And her quirky, humorous side only added to her charm, making her a figure that was as relatable as any human being. But what really set Koko apart was her profound emotional capacity. Her capacity to feel, express, and reflect was something that tied her to the very essence of life itself. And in the next chapter of her journey, Koko would show us how deeply an animal could understand the concept of loss, connection, and love, not just in the immediate sense, but on a much broader, more universal scale. Koko's fame spread far beyond the confines of her sanctuary. Her gentle nature and profound communication skills captivated the hearts of millions, making her a symbol of what is possible when humans and animals truly connect. But what made her truly unforgettable were the moments she shared with some of the world's biggest celebrities, like Robin Williams. When he visited Koko, their bond was instant. It wasn't just a casual meeting. It was an emotional exchange between two beings who understood each other in ways words could never fully express. Koko reached out, showing her playful side, engaging with Robin like an old friend. And in that moment, it was clear that animals, especially those who've experienced emotional depth like rescue animals, have an unparalleled ability to connect with others on a profoundly human level. Robin Williams wasn't the only celebrity Koko encountered. She met a host of famous figures, but each encounter added something new to her legacy. Through these interactions, Koko was able to demonstrate her full range of emotions, from her playful side to her deep compassion and understanding. There was something incredibly moving about seeing a gorilla, so often misunderstood, engage with these larger-than-life personalities in such an intimate and relatable way. Like the rescue pets that surprise us with their capacity to love, Koko had a way of disarming even the most famous of faces, leaving them in awe of her intelligence and emotional complexity. Koko's recognition wasn't just limited to her celebrity encounters. It spread across the globe. People who had never met her still felt a deep connection to the stories of her life. Stories of love, humor, grief, and resilience. This is where the power of media and viral videos really kicked in. Videos showing Koko communicating with her caregivers, laughing at a funny moment, or comforting a fellow animal resonated with millions. These clips of Koko, her gentleness and intelligence, went viral, reminding people everywhere that animals, especially those that have been rescued or given a second chance, are far more capable of emotional complexity than we ever gave them credit for. The media's portrayal of Koko wasn't just about her ability to sign or her interactions with humans. It was about the bridge she built between species. Her fame spread beyond entertainment. It became a call for understanding. Koko wasn't just a pet or even a celebrity animal. She was a teacher, showing us that animals are not simply here to serve us. They're fellow beings capable of emotion, intelligence, and a deep desire to connect. The more Koko's story spread, the more people realized the untapped potential in animals and the importance of recognizing their emotional and intellectual worth. But even in the midst of this fame, Koko never lost her essence. She remained true to herself, displaying a unique blend of strength and vulnerability. Her encounters with celebrities were not just about star power. They were about mutual respect and understanding. And it was through these moments that Koko's legacy would continue to grow, leading to the final chapter of her life, where she shared a message that would forever alter how we see the animals in our lives. As Koko's life neared its end, her messages grew even more poignant and urgent. In her final years, she demonstrated an extraordinary sense of self-awareness. Koko learned to use a computer, draw, and even play instruments like the recorder. But it was when she was shown a skeleton and asked about death that her true wisdom began to shine. Koko, who had already demonstrated remarkable emotional intelligence, signed dead and then said, "In a comfy hole." It was a response that, while simple, spoke volumes about how deeply she understood life, death, and the cycles of existence. Her words were a testament to her journey, one that had been filled with profound love, loss, and discovery. But it was not just her thoughts on death that captured the world's attention. In her final message to humanity, Koko shared something even more powerful. "I am gorilla. I am flowers, animals. I am nature. Man Koko love. Earth Koko love. But man is stupid. Koko cry. Fix Earth. Help Earth. Nature sees you. Thank you." These words were a powerful call to action. Koko, a creature who had lived through unimaginable challenges, had come to understand something fundamental about the relationship between humans and the natural world. Her plea was not just for her own survival, but for the survival of the earth and all creatures, a reminder that we are all interconnected, bound by a shared responsibility to protect the planet. In Koko's final moments, she left behind more than just a legacy of intellectual achievement. She left us with a profound emotional legacy. Her life and her death demonstrated the incredible emotional depth that animals can possess. It was a call to acknowledge the voices of rescue animals, stray animals, and all pets who silently suffer, not just from physical neglect, but from a lack of understanding. Koko's story reminded us that animals are not mere creatures in the background of our lives. They are our companions, our teachers, and our equals. Her plea for us to fix the Earth was a reminder that the health of our planet and the well-being of all its inhabitants are intertwined. Koko's legacy extends far beyond her ability to communicate with humans through sign language. It is her emotional depth, her creativity, and her ability to form deep, meaningful relationships with both humans and animals that make her one of the most remarkable beings to ever live. Her story shows us that animals, whether they are pets, rescue animals, or strays, are not just subjects of human care. They are subjects of deep emotional and intellectual capacity, with stories and wisdom to share. Just as Koko shared her love for all ball, she also shared a love for all of nature, and it's a love that continues to inspire us today. As we reflect on Koko's life, her words echo in our hearts. Fix Earth. Help Earth. Koko's final message wasn't just a statement. It was a call to action. It was an urgent reminder that we must do better. We must recognize the emotional and intellectual gifts of the animals around us, whether they are in shelters, on the streets, or living alongside us in our homes. Koko's legacy challenges us to do what is right, to protect the planet and all living creatures, and to never forget that animals are heroes in their own right. Koko's story is a powerful reminder that animals are far more than what we perceive them to be. They are thinkers, feelers, and emotional beings who have much to teach us. If Koko's message resonated with you, then it's time to reflect on how we treat the creatures around us and the earth itself. Don't let her plea go unheard. If you feel inspired by her incredible journey and want to learn more about the emotional depth and heroic nature of animals, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's continue exploring these untold stories of compassion and survival. Hit the bell so you never miss a moment of inspiration.